It's that time again. The new stage is now set, so let the party begin. Everybody knows the name of the Dallas Cowboys. Let's go Cowboys.
Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of the Cowboys Fan Show. As always, I'm your host, Tyler Ortega, joined by my co-host Scott Jeter. Now, Scott, Dallas was in Denver on Sunday, and to put it plain and simple, it was good old-fashioned butt kicking.
Yeah, not a lot went right for the Cowboys this last Sunday, Tyler.
Yeah, nothing went right, I guess you could say. You were actually in the stands. What was that like being there?
It was a little rough. I mean, the game started off with about a 45-minute rain delay. We just had to sit there in the cold and the rain, and then it got really bad after that, Tyler.
So let's go ahead and have a look here in the film room. When Scott says it gets really bad, he means it gets really bad. We're going to pick it up here. 12 minutes here in the first quarter to go. Trevor Siemian, just a simple little stick route there to Demaryius Thomas on the right side, turns up field, and you know, these first couple of plays, Scott, it's really going to be a microcosm of what happened on Sunday here with Emmanuel Sanders now virtually an instant replay of what we just saw.
Yeah, about the same route with the same result. You know, about a 4-yard pass that goes for about 25. Yeah, trouble tackling all day right there, Tyler.
A first and goal here for Denver. Siemian drops back and he finds Emmanuel Sanders there. That was one of Sanders' 6 catches on the day, his 1 touchdown. And, you know, the Cowboys started off with a thin secondary already, Scott, and then we had a couple of players get hurt, so it just got even worse from there.
Yeah, absolutely. By the end of this game, a lot of injury concerns and just a lot of trouble in the backfield there. I mean, Trevor Siemian looking like Tom Brady out there. Yeah,
and Sanders, I said that was his 1 touchdown of the day. He actually had 2 on the day to go along with 62 yards through the air. Here's C.J. Anderson. He was looking like Zeke Elliott in this game, Scott.
I don't know if it was C.J. Anderson looking like Zeke, but our defense looked like a high school football team out there. I mean, if you guys noticed on that one, was about 7 missed tackles on that guy
look
right
at this,
there.
right here. This Jeff Heath hit right here. Wrap him up, Jeff. You have to wrap him up.
You know, when Sean Lee's missing tackles as well, I mean, you can't really blame Jeff Heath. I mean, when Sean Lee's missing tackles, you know that you're in for a long day as a Dallas fan.
And here's even Emmanuel Sanders getting out there on Nolan Carroll, and Carroll takes a shot. You can see he didn't look too well. He would eventually lead the game with a concussion, and now Siemian goes down, and the ball squirts loose, and it's going to be recovered by the Cowboys here eventually. And they're going to call it a touchdown, Scott.
They call it back. Malik Collins was down on the 3. I mean, I saw it about 6 times on the big board out there. And, yeah, he was down, but it gave us an opportunity.
And this is 2 plays later after that. And Dak Prescott goes out to Dez Bryant there. A little fade route on the outside. Trade Dez Bryant, Scott.
Yeah, he won that one-on-one battle right there. He throws up the X. I mean, there was something good for the day for us.
Yeah, that was maybe the lone bright spot for the Cowboys, and especially Dez Bryant, who had one of his more dismal games, I would say, in a Cowboys uniform.
Well, you know, you really can't blame Dez on these ones right there. Dak was off all day on this one. Without a running game, he really struggled.
Yeah, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. Here we are, 10 minutes in the second quarter to go, and just a simple little out route there. Picking up the first down is Denver, and they are marching. It seemed like this Denver offense didn't really have too much trouble with the Cowboys defense. Of course, as I say that, Dallas comes up with a sack.
Yeah, DeMarcus Lawrence was a bright spot on this defense all day. He lived in their backfield, but man, he needs some help out there, guys.
Needs a lot of help out there. And here again is C.J. Anderson getting into the end zone. Not only did C.J. Anderson have 118 yards on the ground, he also added on 36 yards through the air on 3 catches. He also had a receiving touchdown, rushing touchdown. I hope you drafted C.J. Anderson for this week.
Well, you see right here, they're making it look easy. There was actually a block in the back right there on Sean Lee that did not get called, and I think it doesn't go for 6 if that happens. They probably get limited to a field goal on that one. So bad call on that one. Tough break for us, but I mean, regardless, you've got to be able to tackle.
Here's the former Kansas City Chief, Jamal Charles, getting in some work here for the Broncos. They lead 14-7, just a little bit less than 2 minutes until the break. And here is just a nice little touchdown pass to Emmanuel Sanders, his second of the first half. And, Scott, it's just not looking good.
Yeah, same right there. Jordan Lewis fell down on the route right there. And, I mean, when your corner falls down, I mean, just pitch and catch. I mean, it's like that. It's high school ball right there. Easy 6 for Denver.
Yeah, it was a good route run for what it's worth there by Emmanuel Sanders. So Dallas looking to tack on some points before halftime. 7-21, Broncos on top. Dak drops back, and he's going to air this one out. What a catch right here by Dez. They reviewed it and everything, Scott. I didn't think it was a catch, even from seeing the replays. They gave it to him.
That was a catch right there. Both feet down, inbounds. I mean, all you need is one toe on each foot, and Dez had that.
There's Dan Dollar Bills Bailey, good from 56 yards. So that gets us to the break. 10-21, Dallas trails. Now after halftime, Denver on the move once again. Simeon, he looked like Peyton Manning out there, Scott.
Yeah, well, I mean, you touched on it earlier. Nolan Carroll went down. Chidobe Awuzie went down. We're playing with a rookie secondary out there, and it really showed. I mean, they just killed us with those intermediate routes all day long. It looked like guys didn't understand their assignments. They were playing too far off the receivers and just made it for a rough day for us.
Yeah, Trevor Simeon finished 22 of 32. He had 4 touchdowns on the day. This is number 4 right here as Denver, at this point, in firm control of the game, 28-10, Scott. And what happened with the Cowboys?
Same right there. Jordan Lewis, the rookie on the outside, just zero contain. I mean, as soon as the tight end breaks out to the right, I mean, he's trailing automatically. He had 0 chance on that route.
You know, normally, ladies and gentlemen, here in segment 1, we do Dallas Cowboys highlights. We have to apologize. We're doing some Denver Broncos highlights for this episode. As I said, just a good old-fashioned butt kicking. Chris Harris Jr. coming up with a pick here, and that one's all on Dez. That hits him square in the hands.
Square in the hands.
He has to catch that ball.
Yeah, I completely agree. And this is another thing. It's kind of a theme from the day right here. Dez going down again. I mean, guys were slipping. Guys were falling all day. It didn't look like professional football, Tyler.
Yeah, and as you said, you know, it was a 62-minute lightning delay there in the first quarter. The field got soaked and everything. You know, regardless, you should be able to pop in some longer studs there in your cleats and get going.
Cleats out, yeah.
Yeah, there's C.J. Anderson getting into the end zone once again. And now as you see it, they got the little celebration going. The NFL's a little bit more relaxed on the celebrations this year. I like it.
Oh, just rough one right there. I mean, missed tackles all day. I mean, nobody could fill the gap. It was a long day.
Yeah, C.J. Anderson, as I said, 118 yards on the ground on 25 carries. We're still in the third quarter, ladies and gentlemen. Dallas already going for it on 4th and 5. That pass incomplete to Jason Witten. Dak found himself on the ground there at the hands of Von Miller. Von Miller was all over the place in the second half on defense. Speaking of defense, here's Jordan Lewis, the rookie, coming up with the interception. A little bit too late, Scott.
You know what, honestly, I don't want to say too little too late, because Jordan Lewis, this is his first NFL game. He got burned on a call. I mean, he slipped on a route, got burned on that touchdown. Fantastic learning experience for the guy. Other than those two, I thought he looked really good, came up with his first NFL turnover, and I got high hopes for the kid. I'm glad he played in a loss like that. I mean, get the learning experience. This will only make us better.
Yeah, and there's a touchdown reception there for number 82, Jason Witten. He had 10 catches on the day, 97 yards, this one touchdown, and that's just Jason Witten doing work there, Scott.
Yeah, set a few records, too. Set a few records.
Yeah, Jason Witten potentially could go down as the greatest tight end in NFL history once it's all said and done. Obviously, you know, you got Antonio Gates up there, Tony Gonzalez, guys like that. Dak Prescott again getting hit by Von Miller. Pass is complete out to Bryce Butler. So Dallas at this point trailing 17-35. 4.5 minutes left in the ballgame here. Dak is going to step up, tries to step up in the pocket. Von Miller gets to him again. That was Von Miller's second sack of the day. He had 5 QB hits, Scott. The Broncos as a team had 7.
Well, I mean, fact of the matter is, if you can't run the ball, which you didn't see in any of these highlights that we were running the ball, it's because we just flat out could not, then they let their pass rushers just tee off, and there's really not a lot you can do by then.
You know, and when you have good pass rushers and a good secondary, this Broncos team, you know, they're nicknamed the no-fly zone. When your defense has a nickname, you're pretty legit. You know, we talk about you know, the steel curtain, the doomsday defense. You know, these guys are legit. So not to take anything away from this Denver secondary, and just the icing on the cake here for Denver. Just a little bit over a minute left. Dak Prescott throws a pick six, 103 yards. Aqib Talib takes this one back It's actually tied for the 3rd longest pick six in NFL history.
Yeah, and it made it really awful to have to walk out of the stadium after that one, Tyler, right there. I mean, everybody was already kind of being obnoxious and angry, and just, I mean, it was a hard day to be a Dallas fan out there, guys.
Yeah, so Dak Prescott, 2 interceptions on the day. That's how it ends. 42-17. Dallas falls to 1-1 on the season. Dak threw the ball 50 times, Scott.
50 times.
50 times. He completed only 30 of them. I say only 30. You know, it's crazy when you think of it like that. Zeke, as we said, there was no running game. Zeke ran the ball 9 times. He had 8 yards. Fun fact, Tom Brady had more rushing yards than Zeke Elliott did on Sunday.
So did Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott, yeah, Dak even actually led the Dallas Cowboys in rushing in that game. He had 24 yards on just 3 carries. We'll be right back to dissect this loss to Denver just a little bit more. Don't go anywhere. This is Cowboys Fan Show.